Child killers do not have a particular face. These individuals can be from different backgrounds with varying motivations. Their actions can be both complex and deeply disturbing. This is a danger of the persons who prey on the innocent. Oftentimes, they are familiar with the victims. Other times, their victims are randomly selected. On Wednesday, June 29th, 2005, like any other day, Shanika Shakes and Shanike Legister headed out to Townhead Primary from their respective homes. Shanika, 8 years, and her friend Shanike, 9 years, were inseparable. Although children, they had things in common. They were from the same community, close in age, and they attended the same primary school in Westmoreland. Westmoreland is a rural parish on the westernmost part of the island. It is the 8th largest, and although many may not know about its offerings, it very much holds its own. Once a chief producer of sugarcane, it has now diversified, where it is not just a farming community, but one that offers tourist attractions as well. Early that morning at around 8:30, Shanika decided to take something to her older sister who lived nearby. But before leaving school, she wanted her friend Shanike to accompany her. She got permission from the teachers, and they were on their way outside of the school premises. It's easy to imagine 8 and 9-year-olds being carefree, giggling and skipping, and talking about things that are of interest to them. Certainly, never thinking of the evil that also lives amongst us. On their way back to school, they decided to take an alternate route, or shortcut as we know it in Jamaica. Many Jamaicans are familiar with the saying, shortcut draws blood, long road draws sweat. Unfortunately, the little girls chose the former, and they never made it back to school or their respective homes. School had now been dismissed, and their parents were now becoming concerned as the day slowly came to an end. An alarm was made, and the close-knit community was now involved. It was at this point that they all conceded that something had gone terribly wrong. The entire community in which they lived organized themselves and searched for the girls with the hope of bringing comfort to their parents and everyone that knew them. 24 hours had passed, and still there were no appearance of the girls. They continued the search the following day, and just after 6 in the evening, they discovered the 2 bodies of Shanika and Shanike in a nearby cane field. Shanika was nude, bludgeoned, and bloodstained. A mile off, searchers found the body of her friend that was left in the same state with her hands tied behind her back. A thick crowd had now emerged, and emotions were high. Anger, disgust, and cries could be heard and felt by those who chose to view the bodies. When the mothers of the 2 girls heard of the findings and went to view their babies, they cried out in anguish as nothing could have prepared them for what they saw. They were undressed, faces bashed in, and discarded like they never mattered. Despite many attempts in trying to find the perpetrators, there were no leads and no witnesses came forward. 2 men were subsequently held, but were later released, as there were no evidence tying them to the case. It was believed that there would be a break in the case in 2008. A known sex offender, who had served time for assaulting a 9-year-old boy, as well as several burglaries in the area, was caught breaking into a business. Angry protesters, whose emotions were still raw from the girls' murders, took matters into their own hands, and he was killed. At least 15 suspects over the past 19 years have been held, but were later released because of lack of evidence. Still perturbed by the unsolved murders, the government at the time initiated that retired detectives be called in to bring fresh eyes to the case, but so far no one has been arrested. Shanika Shakes and Shanike Legister are murders that are still unsolved and on the minds of many Jamaicans. When Ananda Dean went missing in September of 2008, there was a much greater outcry as so many children by then had gone missing. At least 1,500 children and teens had been murdered since 2001, leading up to her demise. The public and civil society had become more vocal With successive governments not doing much for the nation's children, 11-year-old Ananda, a student of Swallowfield All Age located in Kingston, was on her way home from school. Eyewitnesses recalled that they had seen her boarding a public transportation to the main bus station at the time of her disappearance. When she was not home as expected, a report was made to the police. The following day, a sigh of relief was felt by her parents and citizens when it was discovered that her books were found thrown about in a community called Pembroke Hall in St. Andrew. Her school and persons who had interest in her safe return went searching in the Pembroke Hall area but left with just her books. Well over a week had passed and there was still no sign of Ananda. Radio, television, and the print media all kept her story alive, with her father ever present, still hoping for the best. Some distance away in a quaint community in St. Andrew called Cypress Hall, residents became concerned of a putrid scent that had been lingering for at least 2 weeks. Acting on impulse, a search party set out to investigate. Unfortunately, at around 10 a.m., Ananda's headless, decomposed body was found dumped over a precipice in the bushes. Her body was so badly decomposed that an autopsy was done on the spot. Several onlookers had stated that they had seen a blue tunic on the road but never connected the dots that it may have been that of the little girl. It is alleged that she was possibly raped, but this has never been confirmed by the police. Although it will not bring Ananda back, much traction and implementation of how missing children should be handled in Jamaica came as a result of her passing. One such was the Ananda Alert, mirroring that of the Amber Alert in the United States, to ensure the safe and speedy recovery of a missing child. Betty Ann Blaine, now deceased, a child advocate and founder of Hear the Children Cry, was a constant voice, pleading to the government to do more for our nation's children. One such request was to commission a review of the number of children murdered per capita on the island, but neither of the two main political parties has ever taken up this challenge. Since the implementation of the Ananda Alert in 2009, there are still instances where it may be improved. Many Jamaicans are still at a loss as to how to proceed when a child goes missing. There has not been ongoing campaigns, especially in May, that is considered Child's Month in Jamaica, educating the public. In comparison to 2008, as a percentage of population in Jamaica, over 115% now do have access to cellular mobile connections. As a child goes missing, this should not be difficult in informing the public in real time. Some parents do not even have recent photos, despite an uptick in this regard. To date, a monument located in the downtown Kingston area was erected in 2008. Its purpose? To symbolize the names of children who have been violently killed, to include the dates of their births and death. Presently, the monument has run out of spaces, and discussions are now centered around how it may be expanded to accommodate more names. Whilst it tells a grim story of the number of children that have died tragically, it also tells a story of just how little regard we give to our nation's children. Ananda's case is still unsolved. For more crime stories within Jamaica and the Jamaican diaspora, please subscribe, like, and share. This is Marsha. Thank you for watching more of What You Love on Island Crimes.